No, that's Don. John has that. Don has the one. Say hi to each other.
Hey, Pianki. Hey, how you doing? All right, good, good. Just getting ready for the shuffle and bathtub that I got. Um, just got out and ready to go.
What'd you say, Don?
I said I just got out the bathtub and I'm ready to go.
Okay, so me and Pianki are gonna start the show. He wants to talk about health. And then
Okay.
when he's done talking, he's gonna listen, and you and I are gonna talk about Charlie Kirk and more than one possible assassin and why everybody's up in arms. And then I wanted to mention 2 or 3 things about Israel and their plan to overtake Gaza City.
But there was only one shot that shot him.
Well, a lot.
All right, we'll talk about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Pianki go first because he hasn't been on the show in 2 months.
No problem. Go ahead. Welcome. Yeah. Well, you know the reason one reason I like Charlie Kirk is because he married a biological female. He has 2 children that he takes care of as a father.
Did you know that he made $400,000 a year and that the Koch brothers bankrolled him?
I didn't know that, and as long as it's legal money, there's nothing wrong with it.
I mean, there's a lot of people who are married to normal people. Not everybody marries a same-sex partner, right?
Yeah, I know.
I'm sure you have more than one reason why you like him, but that's kind of a weak reason.
Well, that's not a weak reason. I like him because of that reason. People want blacks to celebrate Kwanzaa, but the founder of Kwanzaa used to torture black women, hang them up by their ankles upside down, take a water hole and put it in their vagina, and took lit cigarettes and put on their bodies.
What kind of crazy? What kind of crazy person did that?
It was Ron Karenga.
Well, that's very sadistic.
Well, that's the truth about it.
I don't really like or dislike people based on their marital status. It's more about how they conduct themselves morally and how they treat others. But in the case of the Kwanzaa founder, I wouldn't. A person like that wouldn't appeal to me.
Yeah, well, the thing that they was trying to do was create fatherhood like Don has with his wife.
Well, I mean, that is one of the benefits of Charlie Kirk. He was a family man. The strange thing is I only read certain sources every week, like PBS News, Al Jazeera, and BBC, and I never even heard of Charlie Kirk before, ever.
I never followed him either, Jane, so don't feel lonely.
And I don't want to be attacked by the right saying I'm going to criticize him, but there's only 2 things I noticed about him. He went to a lot of college campuses to peddle his philosophy. Well, then he wrote a book about how college is a scam. Well, it's not a scam for everybody. It's definitely way too expensive, but if you're majoring in nursing or engineering, you get something out of it. But if you major like in social studies or something irrelevant to making money, I guess some people would consider it a waste. But for him to go to college campuses and then say college is a waste seems phony to me. Like, and then he was
technically,
yeah.
Technically, he's right. What do you think, Don?
Don, are you eating your ice cream already?
Kiss my ass. I'm getting ready to.
Well, first you're gonna answer a few questions. Like,
okay,
so he wrote 4 or 5 books. One was about college being a scam. However, he had 450 employees on college campuses promoting his ideas and work.
I got more than that. He had 18,000 new chapters across the country just formed since he was shot.
What was the name of his organization? Does anybody know?
Yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue.
The only thing that I found surprising is right after he died, I watched 2 videos of him. And the first video, he was talking to a woman about Albert's listening to us in the chat room. The first thing,
Albert.
Say hi, Albert.
I just said hi, Albert.
Hi, Albert. Anyways, Charlie Kirk said, he goes, oh, this lady was asking him about taking away food stamps and help to people who really need it. And he said, anybody can get Section 8. Anyone can apply and they get it right away. Like, what cave is he living in? If you live in Los Angeles, it takes 10 to 20 years. If you live in Duluth, Minnesota, it takes 2 years. And even if you're a senior, it takes 1 or 2 years. Like, that's just a small example. Like, why would he think that?
I don't know. People need to work that's going to receive those benefits. So.
Well, there are some stipulations for welfare to work. Some people have to work just to get cash aid.
Yeah, and illegals should not receive it.
Well, I know you feel that way, and so does John. I think Albert's gonna be calling in. I'm giving my number to him on the chat room.
And don't forget to give me your email address because I can send you those recipes that would be good for your fasting. That's what I use.
We can talk.
I share information on what I've done, not what somebody is talking
Yeah,
about.
we can still discuss it. I mean, I'm not working tonight. The show's gonna go on a while. But I want to mention 2 things for Don and Pianki and Albert to respond to. First of all, when somebody dies tragically, as several have in the last 6 months, 2 Minnesota state senators were shot to death in their home along with their spouses. 2 kids were killed at a Catholic school. But how does the Republican Party have the right to say, just a minute, Albert's calling, I think. How does the Republican Party have the right to say who's gonna, who's gonna mourn for who? Like, they're telling us we're gonna get in trouble if we criticize them. Hold on a second. Hi, Albert. Hi, Albert. You guys, Albert's on the show now.
You gave me the wrong number.
I did not. My number's 218-721-6840.
Also, you're doing like a 4-way treatment.
I'm doing a conference call where I merge everybody. But either Don, I don't think it's Pianki, but somebody has background noise. So could each of you guys go into a private room? Okay, well, hi, Albert. We haven't talked to you in 2 years.
Yeah, I know. I've been on the streaming apps, like TikTok and Meet Me. Like, you can, just like you're doing on YouTube, but you get more crowd. It's easier to do, and it's free. And, you live stream, and you debate, and you have whatever show you want to have, and it's free. But
ever since Blog Talk Radio ended, Suzette said we should try Talk Shoe, SHOE, but I tried it one day, and the passcode they gave us was fake, and it didn't work.
Yeah, no. Just stick with like streaming apps like TikTok or like Meet Me. Like, you can just go live. Well, actually, TikTok you need 1,000 days. But forget TikTok. Just do like Meet Me or like Ty. You could just go live and invite all your friends. Like, they download the app and just go with you. And you can have like 5 people in the box and you can all talk.
Yeah, I'll try. I'm on TikTok now, so I'll try it next time. But Don is old school, and I don't know what Pianki's presence on social media is.
Go live unless you have like 1,000 fans. Yeah.
Are you? I don't have 1,000 yet. I just joined 2 months ago.
Okay, forget about TikTok. Don't use TikTok.
So tell us where you're at and how you feel about the state of the country.
Well, I heard about it and I watched it, and then I learned who was Kirk or
Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk. Before I didn't know anything about him. Like I didn't know much about him. But since the mainstream corporate media has been pushing his death and trying to make us feel a certain way, like trying to make me feel sorry about him or whatever. And I get there, he's aligned with the mainstream corporate media, like all the stuff that he says, like it's in with CNN, ABC, like what they believe. And so when he died, they were pushing, the agenda, and I think that's insulting. Like to use a dead man to push your agenda, on the news, like on the mainstream media, the way they've been pushing him, and Donald Trump has been pushing the agenda, using a dead man. I think that's insulting.
It was more like Fox News that were saying, and the Trump administration saying that if we don't mourn him properly, or if we criticize him at all, we're toast.
Yeah. See,
So what agenda is Donald Trump pushing using him? I hear people say these things in generality, but they never get into details.
I will. They said that he was a godly man that stood up for godly values. He was an upright citizen, and the general people who disagree with him are liberal extremists who want him dead. Like they went to the extreme.
But I don't see nothing wrong with that statement because I can point out the things that would support that.
Well, my own radio host John Yoder said that I am complicit in his blood because I sent him one video over of this unknown political pundit talking about what her opinion was, just about what her opinion was about his death. I had never heard of Charlie Kirk, and I'm not complicit in anything. I don't even know. I just know that he kind of talks. He shoots from his hip.
Well, that's fine. Well, I'll tell you what. I learned some stuff about him because I went to his YouTube channel and I was watching his debates because he does a lot of debates, and I was watching stuff that he believes and he says, and he's very racist and heinous. I mean, here is just
how is when you get a chance, sir, tell me what he said was racist.
I will too. Go ahead, Albert.
This is not good. So, if you hear the record, did you hear that recording?
Yes, I just heard this is not good.
No, well, he said, I think it's worth it to have a couple gun deaths every year. Yeah.
A couple what?
Gun deaths.
He said that it's okay if a few children die because it's the price we have to pay for owning guns.
Well, yeah, many people say that. People say that it's the gun rather than the people that's killing. So there's nothing racist about that. It does happen.
He also said that he has to be really careful if he can trust a black pilot. If they're black, he won't know what their credentials will be.
And it's not what's racist about that.
I think it's assuming that someone can't do their job because they're a certain color.
No, it's not assuming that someone can't do their job because of a certain color. Hey, I flew with Ethiopia Airlines and both pilots, and the crew is all black.
Well, since Albert hasn't been on the show 2 years, I want him to go through the whole list.
Yeah, I'd like for him to tell me what was racist that he said.
Okay, go ahead, Albert. Albert? Well, now we lost him already.
Can you hear me?
I can hear Pianki. Don's probably somewhere on the show.
Oh, you can hear me now, right?
Yeah, we can hear you, Albert, but not at first.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, so I was into the debates where he says, I think it's worth it to have a couple gun deaths every year, out of his mouth, And then out of his mouth, he also said, he mentioned a lot of people of color, mentioned a lot of different names. I can't remember all the names. But, apparently the way he was saying it was saying all the people of color to get into position because of DI or whatever.
DEI.
DEI, because of DI, all the people of color get in place, they don't know what they're doing. They're incompetent. They're just picking people that have no skills and no experience, don't know nothing. Apparently they're completely clueless. So he thinks all the people of color, even the pilots, he's afraid. He thinks they're picking them pilots and they have no experience how to fly a plane just because they're black, And this is what he's assuming with all the people. Hey, Albert. Saying all of them. He's not just saying something. He meant hey Albert. Because all of them, everybody apparently. Jay, can you get his attention? Color. Everybody that gets hired in pays in color. Apparently, it's not. Hey Albert, not able to do the job. Yeah. Can you comment on one thing at a time instead of throwing a whole line of them out there? Well, I mean, there's a lot of things he said because but we can't comment. I would like to comment on each one. I'm black, by the way. I'm a black United States citizen, and I don't think I ever heard him say anything, quote unquote, that's supposed to be racist. Blacks say things. I've heard blacks say the same thing, and nobody never called them racist. He said he was talking about transgenders, and there was way too many transgender shootings.
Oh, yeah.
All right, now let's talk about that. There have been a lot of transgender shootings, and the news media never reports on them. The highest records of shootings, are caused by men. Second is women, and third is transgender. Transgender's all the way at the bottom.
Yeah, transgender's like 1 in a million.
Yeah, they're very, very low. Literally, you look at men. Men are on the when it comes to mass shootings, over 100 times more than a transgender. Well, let me say this about transgender shootings. When there's a transgender that shoots somebody, when there's a black person, somebody with black skin that shoots somebody, the news should report it as we see them. They don't do that.
Well, they did with the Ukrainian woman. And second, I do want to say something. The guy who was gay, who was dating the transgender guy cooperated fully with the FBI on every single action Tyler Robinson took to kill Charlie Kirk. The transgender saved the day by telling the truth.
I understand. Now, here's my question. Why do transgenders need to have a special right that's against the Constitution? They're already U.S. citizens. You got that right and that protection as a U.S. citizen. But to include your sexual preference in order for Congress to pass a certain protective law for you, that's totally wrong. That's unconstitutional.
One opinion I've had for a long time is if no matter what your sexuality is or if you change your body parts, I don't really need to know. Just mark some. I
don't either. I agree with you.
But I hate to tell you there's a whole program of Title IX that protects specifically gays and transgenders.
Well, then that part of it is wrong because the Constitution never mentioned any U.S. citizen accordingly to their skin color, their status, or their gender or orientation. Now, I do not want my children to be taught by someone that's openly gay. I don't want that. I'll take them out the classroom. I ain't saying that they can't teach. Those that want that, it's perfectly fine. But I don't. Look, okay, listen to what Charlie Kirk says about the transgenders. Hold on.
But
listen to this.
Okay.
People
won't stop going into female locker rooms and stealing female medals and then penalizing people for not using the right pronouns. We are fine with live and let live. The trans alphabet mafia, they want to say live and let us rule. You must use our pronouns. You must allow us into your locker room. You must allow us into your sporting competition. If not, you're a bigot and we're going to penalize you. I don't care if you want to go wear a dress by yourself. Go ahead, knock yourself out. But if you're going to force me to use pronouns that aren't true, teach my kids things that are materially or biologically false, then we have a serious problem.
All I'm saying is that, like, this people just right.
So, yeah, I agree. Other transgenders are trying to get into the lockers. And
Okay, Albert, I agree with that.
All the transgenders are shooting everybody, trying to get into everybody's lockers.
You know, you just keep rounding off. You just talking to yourself.
Wait a minute. I do. Okay, let's. The main thing that Albert brought up. Let's discuss that first. There was a transgender male, aged 22 or 23, that attacked the Catholic Church through the windows in Minneapolis and killed 2 kids. That was probably the first transgender serial killer I've ever heard of.
You had one in Nashville, Tennessee, remember?
No, I don't.
Oh, well, that's what I'm saying. You don't know them all. You had one in Nashville, Tennessee, when her manifesto was reported. She was a transgender.
I wonder if there was a school shooting in Madison, Wisconsin a year ago too, and it seems to me there was some kind of issue with that too. But I think the thing is that I agreed with what Charlie Kirk said, except for the part about raiding locker rooms. I don't think they should get special treatment or men should play women's sports. But on the other hand, he kind of goes about it in a brutal way, like just criticizing them.
Frank. There's nothing wrong with being frank, Jay. I don't want no transgender in the same locker room with my daughter.
Well, Albert, what do you think? Do you think that Charlie Kirk could address the problem differently?
Well, when he was speaking to somebody over eating meat, he was apparently laughing about it, saying he was going to eat meat after this debate. Making fun of the person who was asking him questions. Very, very rude. But he was also, it's like I don't know why, because he always seems to dodge questions and we're present statistics that are either unrelevant or just not. You
said he was rude.
Yeah.
There's a guy named Parker.
Hang on. You said he was rude, but what he said wasn't unlawful. Was it unlawful?
It was rude. He was laughing. He was like,
no, sir.
All these people, all the supporters.
No, sir. You got blacks that call other blacks niggers.
No matter what he said. You can live.
Wait a minute.
Okay, everybody be safe.
You got blacks that call other blacks nigger. Is that rude? It's not against the law.
No, because that's the way they talk to each other.
Absolutely. So you gonna say a white person don't have the right to call a black person nigger? Blacks call each other nigger. It's not unlawful.
I just learned on Friday.
Am I going to get in trouble for the N-word being said on my show?
No, you're not. Because I'm a black person and I'm saying it.
Okay.
What I'm telling you is that they criticize and denigrate whites for using the word, but they say nothing when blacks use the word. It's not illegal.
I think the point that Albert's trying to make is that he wasn't a kumbaya type of guy. He was a divider, and he did question people by race a lot. That's
he didn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily. It's going to automatically be a divider because you got, for somebody to cut their dick, their penis off, for somebody to cut their breast off, it's something wrong with them mentally.
I know someone in Hollywood who was famous.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever tried to be a transgender? Like, have you ever tried?
No, I don't want to even be around them. And I don't want to be around them if I know who they are.
Have you ever dated a transgender? No, right? Okay,
Well,
so you don't know.
Well, wait a minute. Albert, let me say this. You keep running these questions out. You run these questions out, a string of them at a time. Just ask one question.
Transgender, and you don't know what it's like to be with a transgender. Seems to me you don't know anything about a transgender.
I think
Just the description of what they do, Albert, is enough for me to know I don't want to be around them.
You don't know anything about.
Well, Albert, some people are turned off by people changing their body parts around.
Yeah, of course. I mean, sure, you could be turned off from what you hear, you know, in a closed-minded position of what you just hear, but not like you have to really be in there and know it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
You don't have to do it to know it. Are you crazy?
You know Mexico without being Mexico, right? You gotta go to Mexico. You gotta live over there. You gotta eat Mexican food. You know what I mean?
We ain't talking about food. We're talking about. Let me ask you a question. James, tell him.
Okay, Albert, let him.
Have a dialogue back and forth.
Something without.
Albert, give him a chance to answer, Albert. Go ahead.
Albert, do homosexual men have sex with each other?
It's called being gay, of course.
All right. To me, that's despicable.
Despicable.
A person's. Wait a minute. Let me finish saying what I gotta say. Ain't no.
Know anything about
Listen,
it.
I'm gonna leave and let you have a show by yourself. I'm not gonna be
Okay.
arguing.
All right. You know, I don't want anyone to hang up. It took me a long time to get 3 people on the show tonight.
You got a person here that's just want to talk.
Okay, Albert.
Anal tract and a throat is not designed. Semen was not designed to be deposited in an anal tract. Semen was not designed to be deposited down somebody's throat. There's something wrong with you when you do that.
Miserable. That's up to you, but you know, if they want to be happy, I say more power to them. You know, whatever floats about. If it makes them happy, you know, they should be able to be happy.
I agree with you, but they shouldn't be pushing it on other people, especially kids, like they've done in the year 2000 in Tufts College in Massachusetts.
LGBT, and nobody pushed it down my throat. Nobody pushed being gay, lesbian, or transgender down my throat. Nobody.
But it does happen.
Yeah. I don't know where it has happened because I met a lot.
All right, I can tell you where it's happened. You got a pencil and paper?
Not a single person has tried to push me. I don't know.
Maybe they don't like the way you look, Albert. But I can give you a story where you can go read on it.
I don't want to read like one in a billion story. Like, you know what I mean?
Just give one.
You can only experience one. I can give you a story where it was pushed down children as young as 12 years old. The story is called the Fifth Gate Conference.
Yeah. Everything one in a billion happened. I'm sure you can find any story.
Well, Albert, look here. You want to talk by yourself. You want to preach to us and have a sermon. We're supposed to have a conversation.
I'm giving you facts, man.
Well, I'm giving you facts too. You can go read on it.
Yeah, you're giving her one of a billion facts.
Okay,
I don't know a billion.
It doesn't suit them. The majority doesn't suit the most.
Okay, I would like to solve the problem now before there's more fighting. I'm a born-again Christian, and I've never been attracted to women, and I wouldn't want to date a man who changed to a woman or a woman who changed to a man because it's too far over my head, and I'm just not attracted to that. Maybe people do it because they're suffering and they have emotional damage, but I would never want to date a transgender or a gay.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure nobody tried to politically force you, to do it. You know, you have the freedom of choice.
You know what else too, Jane? Any person that has had sexual relationship with the opposite sex, they should reveal it when they're talking to someone on a date. It should be revealed.
That's true.
Help themselves. Do you believe in that?
I do because certain groups are at risk for diseases.
Absolutely. You spreading diseases.
Well, can we not talk about body parts and change the subject?
Yes, we can. It's your show.
Okay, first of all, Don, where are you? Don? Anyways, okay. So
I'm just listening.
I
I'm listening to this rigmarole.
okay,
Hi, Albert. Yeah, what's up,
say
And,
Albert, Don said hi to you. Okay, let's talk about another aspect of Charlie Kirk that won't piss anyone off too much.
There's no other aspect.
I can tell you something about Charlie Kirk. He said that the bombing, has been happening. Israel has been, bombing
Gaza.
Gaza, churches and hospitals and whatnot. And he says it's justified because the Gaza terrorists came and kidnapped some people, and therefore it's justified them to do all the crazy amount of bombing and killing millions of people. So it's justified. I think
They're killing millions of people.
yeah.
Actually, Pianki and I do not agree with that Israeli policy. It's disproportional to kill 58,000 people for the approximate 1,000 people who were kidnapped, and half of them been returned.
I mean, if you're trying to catch the terrorists, there's many ways to do it, but the way they're doing it is just way too.
I agree, it's terrible.
I agree with that, but you shouldn't tell people that they're killing millions of people. If there was that rate, it wouldn't be nobody there at all.
They've killed around 59,000 Palestinians.
But he said they was killing millions of people. They hyper and inflate these conversations.
Not that many, not even 1 million people can fit in Gaza.
Let me tell you, Israel hides the numbers, and United States is Israel's number one ally. They literally do everything Israel asks for, and so if they hide the numbers, America, the government also hides the number.
Well, I don't agree with killing innocent men and women in church, but I also don't agree with people hyper inflating numbers because all it does is spur on emotions.
Charlie agrees with killing. He says some casualties have to happen. He says it.
But you said millions of people.
Okay, but Charlie Kirk said that some casualties have to happen. Some people must die.
He was talking about school shootings.
Anyway, hey, you guys are taking information. You guys, Albert, you're taking some bullshit information and proposing it as truth. I would never, Albert, I'm a journalist.
I can show you some videos.
No, he said that about owning guns.
I would never look at YouTube and say it was fact. I would never look at anything on any audio recording that says it's fact.
Okay, let's pick one topic at a time. When he said that some people will be casualties annually, he was talking about gun ownership, not Israel. Get it? Hello? He was talking about gun ownership, not people dying in Israel. And it was reported last week that approximately 58,000 to 59,000 people died.
Well, the guy was crazy enough to say that, believe you should keep the baby in rape and incest. And that's the worst thing you can do for the person, the baby, and everything. The families, and you can't get rid of them, so I don't know what, because I don't know if I'm fully for abortion anymore, but that is, if there was any reason for abortion, that would be it. If they wanted to get rid of it.
Right. Did Charlie Kirk say that if you get raped or incest, you need to keep the baby?
Absolutely.
Well, that's not right.
Well, Jesse Jackson is a product of a rape.
Yeah, well, Jesse
His mother was, I don't know if she was going to abort him or what, but I know that the question came up. They also, Obama's wife, now her mother's grandmother, her mother's mother wanted her to abort Obama.
Well, it's because a lot of white people feel uncomfortable when their daughter gets knocked up by a black guy.
Well, looking at the rape rate in the country, I don't blame them. But I'm just saying that that's just the thing that goes down.
One of the things I'm fighting the most is rape kits. All right, now I'm turning another subject real quick. But we have more rape kits that have not been processed and can't be processed for 18 to 36 months in most states. So they treat rape as just another everyday, I guess.
I agree with you. Now, there's a lot of injustice that go on when it comes down to that topic.
Yeah.
Neal, I have another caller. Just a minute. Just a minute. Okay, you're on the air, Neal. We have another caller. Neal, you're on the air.
Okay. I'll just listen in.
Well, you better talk fast because there's a lot of people interrupting right now. What'd you like to say?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things to say, but just the last thing that they were talking about as far as rapes, not rapes or keeping kids that produce from a rape. I don't think you necessarily need to. I think Don said something about the worst thing to do is get rid of them. I guess I have to disagree with that. I'm more in agreement with Pianki on that. A lot of famous people or even normal people have great lives come from rape. So I don't think getting rid of the kid.
Well, they were talking about rape and incest by a parent.
If that's the option that they want.
We're talking about incest and rape. Now, if you get knocked up by your father, you shouldn't have to keep the baby.
Unless you want to. And that's the other side.
Well, the child is still another human being.
Yeah, but the gene pool, they're going to be retarded. The gene pool.
Look at the white family. It's a documentary about two white brother and sister, and they mate, and their couple, I think it's their grandchildren, can't even talk. They're worthless. They're mentally ill and
don't say worthless.
They're white family. I'm going to say something else about Charlie Kirk, and I'm pretty sure you're going to defend. You guys are going to defend Charlie Kirk.
Wait till we get done with this particular topic here.
I haven't defended Charlie Kirk.
This is about Charlie Kirk.
Okay, everybody, make sure you're not on speaker because we're getting too much clatter.
Yeah, Albert. I know they want to Albert.
This is some fact.
You don't know anything about Charlie Kirk.
I'm gonna give you some facts.
There's no fact.
You think? Here's
You
the
better
fact.
not have that with no
Charlie Kirk said that Charlie Kirk is pro-life. Okay, it says that the women must have the baby, the fetus must come out, they must have the baby because he's pro-life. Then when it comes to the death penalty, he supports it. So how can it be pro-life?
Albert, Republicans, the people in power.
Don,
Albert, they always talk.
Don, let Albert. Don, let Albert finish. He hasn't been on. Wait. Okay, you know what? I took all you guys off speaker. Albert has not been on the show for 2 years. Don't diss everything he says. He's making a valid point right now.
Asking a question.
Why? I didn't get to finish. What I was trying to say, he supports the death penalty. for everybody to get the death penalty. You know what I mean? And sometimes, once in a while, we do accidentally, have the death penalty on a innocent person who was wrongly convicted. And it happens once in a while. But he supports it. Nevertheless, he supports the death penalty. Either way, he doesn't care any bit.
All right, you said that 3 times. Anybody want to comment on that?
I do too. Pianki first.
How can you be pro-life if you support the death penalty?
Albert, you said that 4 times. You're being redundant.
I answered your question, Albert.
You're not pro-life. You're either one or the other, but you can't.
Okay, let them answer.
Albert, you said that 4 times.
Albert, you're a liar. Albert, you're a liar. And if you're a liar like that, then
You know what, Don? You can't call people names.
No. I'm trying to show Albert. I answered this question already. People talk about it, both sides of their mouth.
Okay, well, don't call people names. I'm getting pissed off.
No. He wouldn't listen.
Look it up. He supports the.
You said that 6 times, Albert. Why are you being redundant? We know it. Good God, man. What kind of discussions are you
Used to. Let me tell you my position on that. I'm for the death penalty, and I'm for life. Now, if you commit a crime against another human being, another United States citizen that's hideous, and it calls for the death penalty, you should be put to death. Any government official that commits treason, they should be hung.
You want the women to have the baby and not kill the baby, right?
What has that got to do with somebody that go out and kill someone?
You're either pro-life.
What does that have to do? Like you had 2 black men, and you had 2 black males. You had 2 black males in Nashville, Tennessee, that went into this black woman's home, and they were looking for drugs and money.
Okay,
Listen,
You can't pick or choose who dies and who.
will you let people talk?
You're not letting me talk. You cannot pick who.
You were asked the damn question 5 or 6 times. God damn.
okay, Albert, can you call back another night? They're not being cooperative with you.
Either you're pro-life or you're not.
Jay,
That doesn't have anything to do with it.
Jay, you need to moderate.
How can I? Nobody's listening.
But Albert has asked the same thing 12 times. I'm counting. And he's going to ask it 13 times.
He sounds like he got a mental problem.
Don't talk about my little Albert that way.
There's no Albert is disrupting your show. I would love to hear what he says. I always do. Because he has a different perspective. But the bottom line is that I answer this question. Pianki has asked several times to just go to the next point. And we just can't.
Okay, Albert, Albert hung up because you guys were mean to him.
Because he's trying to persuade people rather than asking their opinion.
The thing with, I'm sorry to say, but the thing with Albert is he does repeat himself, but it's not a crime.
You should have moderated.
How could I? You guys were arguing.
He's the one that's arguing. He makes mention of the same thing like Don said a dozen times. We are intelligent human beings. We can understand and comprehend what's being said. You don't have to repeat it 12 times.
I think here's the main gist, okay? Can we be fair? What Albert was trying to say in some instances is that Charlie Kirk was not always sensitive to other people. Can we agree with that?
Yes. But sensitive to other people, in his mind, he is sensitive to other people.
And I don't mind, he's a political podcaster. The problem is when you mix religion with podcasting and you say that your way is the only way or the right way, then it creates problems.
Let me say something about that. People want to mix right and wrong when it's the law. If it's lawful, right and wrong is subjective. You got two men that go to bed with each other. They think it's right. And lawfully, they can do that. There's nothing wrong. If they want to do that, do it. But when you try to push that on to somebody else, that's wrong. It's unlawful for you to do that. If you're going to have something, go in your private room and do it.
I agree. I wouldn't call myself a homophobe, but I don't want anyone to make a pass at me that I don't want them to.
If you're a homosexual, you shouldn't be trying to make people accept that. They don't have to accept that because it goes against their morals and ethics. Good God Almighty.
I think, Albert's a free thinker. He doesn't really understand the spiritual ramification of sleeping with ungodly flesh. And it is a sin to sleep with the same sex. The Bible says it in Leviticus and Romans 1. Do not sleep with people of the same sex.
In some societies today, you would get killed for doing that, especially if you're married to a female and you out sleeping with men.
And Russia is the same. They don't believe in same-sex relationships. It's illegal there.
It doesn't produce nothing. But that's if people want to leave. Only thing I'm saying, and just like I was telling you about that conference that was held at Tufts College in Massachusetts in the year 2000.
I remember that.
The conference was called the Fistgate Conference. And they was busing children from area schools as young as 12 to sit in on workshops. And some of the topics in the workshop was this: fisting. Fisting, that's putting your fist up another person's rectum. And should I swallow or spit it out? Well, they was having this conversation with 12 years old and younger children. That's ridiculous.
I remember when you brought that up on a previous show. It's disgusting. And I think I'm going to lose half my listeners tonight because of the radical nature of the show.
And another thing too, that's going to bring you more listeners. And another thing too, people, the organization name was Glensing, Glsen, and the founder was Kevin Jennings. Now, Kevin Jennings, Obama appointed educational czar when he became president. I wouldn't have wanted him as no educational czar dealing with kids.
I don't think the whole LGBTQ thing, it's inundated in the schools. I don't believe in forcing people to use pronouns. I don't think it has to be out in the forefront. The whole LGBTQ sensitivity thing, like, mind your own business, have a private life, don't force yourself on others.
Well, what you got going on, here you are talking to what appears to be a male. And then if you say yes, sir, to them, they want to sue you and saying you're not using the proper pronoun and you are insulting them. Well, you look like a male to me.
That happened to me when I was a sub. Like, let's say there was a boy named Charlie and he changed his name to Jennifer, and I'm walking into a class I never been in and I'm taking roll and I say, Charlie, are you here? And he goes, my name is Jennifer. Don't you see it on the paper? And a couple of kids like called me out for not calling them their bisexual names.
Yeah. So that's why if people want their kids, then this is what happens. You need to allow people to separate their children from that type of activity. Separate your kids.
I do have one comment for you and Don and Neal still on the line, that you guys didn't have to be that hard on Albert, because you know what? He has a lot of fans on his social media and he hadn't been on the show in 2 years.
Well, wasn't nobody hard on. We was trying to get some coordination in the show. He started talking and just run off on the mouth.
I know he wouldn't let you guys. He wouldn't pause to let you answer.
He asked the question, and we wanted to give the answer. When the answer didn't come out like he wanted it to be, then he wants to argue.
Yeah, like all of us said at the beginning of the show, none of us really knew who Charlie Kirk was before Wednesday last week when he was shot to death. Now, I'm suspicious that somebody said it was a private hit from another organization in the U.S. that wanted him dead because they were conflicting with whatever their stake was in American government. They were wondering how a 22-year-old kid on a roof could have that perfect aim at Charlie Kirk's neck.
That's because the police in that area is just lackeys. That's what it is. I would think.
Yeah, the Utah it's not that highly populated except for Salt Lake City, and I thought that was an odd setting for someone to get murdered.
Yeah, people up in the northwest corner are kind of strange from what I hear.
No, there was another killing in Idaho 2 years ago. He killed 4 college students and he got caught, and now he's gonna be on death row. But Idaho and Utah, like that, those places don't get a lot of mass murder type things.
Well, they should implement the death penalty.
Well, Utah does have the death penalty, I mean, Jay, it's not that far fetched. I mean, the same thing with the attempted murder on President Trump. I mean, someone did it from a roof. 200 yards is really not that far for a marksman to be able to hit a target. As far as Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, she has one of her latest one. She actually accused Benjamin and Netanyahu Satan as being the person responsible for Charlie's death because he...
Benjamin Netanyahu?
I said Satan. But anyway, so because, again, he was converting from being a Christian to being a Catholic, and so he was going away from the idea of being a Judeo-Christian, and so some of his views were changing on how the Israelis are handling the people in Gaza. And so that is her theory, that the Israeli is responsible for his death because of the change of his political...
I heard a conspiracy theory circulating, and that was it. Secondly, J.D. Vance only converted to Catholicism a few years ago, and Charlie Kirk was a huge supporter of J.D. Vance, and there has been a lot of Catholic conversions in the last 2 years. Number one, because of the new Pope getting in, and also the Catholic Church has been promoting their premises more often on radio, and they've been getting a stronger following. But why wouldn't Netanyahu be threatened by one 28-year-old who converts from Protestantism to Catholicism? Is that Netanyahu feels threatened by that? That's crazy.
Because of his huge platform is why a lot of young people between the ages 17 to 35-year-olds listen to him, and those are the next voters. And so they are finding him to be a threat. And my understanding from Candace Owens that he was already invited to Israel, and I even heard Netanyahu Satan said it himself that they invited him to Israel, and according to her, they obviously threatened him like they do every United States senator once they get in office.
Okay,
go to Israel as well.
You're saying a lot of important facts, but just call him Netanyahu, because I don't want to lose my YouTube license tonight, and we've already talked about body parts and where people stick them, and I just and Pianki used the N-word describing how blacks talk to each other, and I don't want to go on a hit list.
Okay. All right. I'll just...
And a lot of people, the main reason people don't like...
I'll just say BB.
Yeah, the lot of reason people don't like Netanyahu is because of his disproportionate killing. It doesn't matter if he's a Jew. He's not respectful of his own religion. In Genesis, it says, after the flood, God told Noah, no, do not take the life of another brother. Do not take the life of a human being. And Netanyahu has killed thousands and thousands and thousands of people.
Absolutely, you got to understand the Israeli state is a secular state. You do have their Orthodox Zionists. Orthodox people there. But again, they are against majority of the things that the actual government do, because again, you got to understand it's secular, and I guess close to 86% of the people in Israel is secular. So the Bible means nothing.
I know there's a lot of Jews.
The thing about the country, that's that country. Our concern, my concern, is MAGA. I want to make the United States profitable. I want to make it strong. I want to make it great again. I'm not worried about that. And nothing you can do about it anyway. That's nothing you can do about that.
Well, I mean, United States control Israel, or Israeli control the United States. I mean, they're hand in glove, basically. I mean, the Israelis really don't do anything without our permission or knowledge. So
we've been supporting Israel for years and years and years. Now there's rabbis and Bernie Sanders, who's a Jew, speaking out, and it is a threat to Israel when their own Jewish people are refuting Netanyahu, and the kids there from 18 to 21 are burning their draft cards for the Israeli army.
Well, I don't even feel like talking about them, but if people want to talk about them, that's their business.
We don't have to. I
got a question for Pianki. I understand what you're saying about you want America to be better. And I mean, the phrase here, MAGA, make America great again. I guess, for me, I like to know, when was America great?
America was great times, for instance, in World War II. It was a great effort in order to defeat the elements that wanted to destroy the fabric, and still are there, of the United States. Hell, when I was coming up, America was a great place. And I still think it is.
Great. I guess I'm trying to understand great in what way.
For me, it was great. It was great in living. It was great with the crime that we have today is nowhere near. The food was better. I know the food tastes better back there in those times. We talk about that all the time. Education was more thorough back then than what it is now. You don't see this denigration of women like you see today. Families was families intact. Hell, you could go to bed, you go to sleep, we could sleep across the street in the park and not wake up the next morning with your head cut off.
I think, okay, I want to say one thing before Neal replies. And by the way, I've had to stand up tonight because I have a cramp in my hip, so I have to walk around a lot. Neal, when the World War II ended and all the Allies successfully defeated Germany, there was an excitement in the air, like a bunch of new industries were starting. Housewives were getting brand new washers and dryers. It was still like Leave It to Beaver in a way, where people were more innocent. They respected institutions like church and school. Up until the Vietnam War, when we started getting in too deep, and then it caused disenfranchise. But since you're black, I know what you're trying to say, that it was never that easy on black people. But you and Pianki don't come from the same place as black people, unfortunately.
And I'm not black.
Well, your skin color is black.
No, my skin color is brown.
Well, my son is black and he's half Scandinavian, so a spade is a spade.
I don't think in America to call anything that's not lily white black, and that's totally wrong. The uses of the words we and us is totally wrong. It has to be better defined and am not of that persuasion and those ideologies.
Well, you're Egyptian, but okay, one time we had a guy named Ben on the show that I think Pianki might know, Ben Keith. He was talking about how the U.S. categorized like white non-Hispanic, white Hispanic, black, Asian, like some of those ethnic terms were misnomers. They were not correctly defined.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what? I'm a white Scandinavian who turns dark in the summer, but I'm still a Scandinavian.
Yeah, and our nationality is North America. Our citizenship is United States. I mean, think about it. That's what the Constitution says.
Well, I agree with that, what you're just saying. Yes, we are Americans. Our nationality would be American. That is true. I just, for me, the term black and white are just, as they say, social construct, and again is used for political purposes. And so that's why I don't personally define myself as black, because I know that those are political terms. Because if you really go back a long time ago when the Moors ruled, it's actually it was reversed. I mean, where we think anything's black, it's horrible and all that. Previously, it was the opposite.
Not necessarily.
Greatest thing to be called, and white was the worst thing to be called. So those are political terms, and that's why I stay away from and go more towards. Personally, ethnicity is very important to me because, again, that's how people was always really known in the past, by the tribe that they were from. And so that's what I sort of prefer to be labeled as or identify with more than a social construct of color, which was always.
There's only two problems with that. Americans are simple-minded, and they're just, if you look white, they're going to think you're white. If you look Asian, they're going to think you're Asian. You can't go in around at re-educating everybody else.
I don't think they're that smart. People know the difference.
I didn't say they were smart. I said that they make assumptions. A lot of people aren't smart.
Russians are East Asians. They're East Asians.
Some Russians, not the ones over by us, Finland.
People over in on the west coast of what you used to call Europe. Europe was not a continent when I was coming up. They was not listed as a continent. Those are Western Asian people. That's what they are.
Okay, you weren't born.
The people that came across the Bering Straits was Asians. They was Indians.
We know that, but you know what, Pianki? You're not 200 years old. Like, England formed their country in 1266, and you were born in the 19th century. Hello.
Yeah, but when I was in school, when they talked about the 5 continents, it was no Europe. Europe is really, some area. That's an island, really. But a continent was defined as a body of land that's surrounded by water.
Okay, I don't really want to get into geology, but since history and social studies is my teaching license, okay, I did a paper on the 30 Years' War from 1618 to 1648. Back then, there was a bunch of religious duchies. The religious organizations ran the land. This was a little bit later. Martin Luther challenged the Catholic Church in the 1500s. The Catholic Church dominated Europe. Then the Lutherans and Protestants started having a foothold. Then they all went to war in the 30 Years' War. And Cardinal Richelieu of the Catholic Church recommend they create nation states with national boundaries to stop the religious fighting. So a religious cardinal who had a secular mind was the first international leader that suggested having a nation state with boundaries so countries could effectively be more diplomatic with each other. And that was back also when the Huguenots were being slaughtered by other Protestants. So anyways, all that religious stuff kept going on for a couple hundred years, and that's why the Pilgrims came to America, blah, blah, blah. But Europe still was Germany didn't become a country till 1891. So you're right, Europe, I think Europe was called Europe by the 1917 when they had World War I, and there was England, France, Germany, Prussia, Austria, and Spain. So then they did recognize it, at least by World War I. They called it Europe.
Spain and Germany, they own the continent of Asia. That's what they are. And what you call the Middle East was called Asia Minor.
Well, also,
East.
all those royal families intermarried. Like someone, Wilhelm in the early 1900s, a German Catholic boy married into the English royalty. And then there was someone in Spain, I think Catherine of Aragon, she married into a high-ranking papal family. I don't know, it was all mixed up and they were all together and they were all blood brothers. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say that the Catholic Church was technically more powerful than the nation states, even after they created national boundaries.
Well, the Holy Roman Church, Holy Roman Catholic Church was very, very powerful. Yes, it was.
Yeah, and remember when Spain in the Armada tried to come over and kill Elizabeth and take over England? That female queen of Spain was married. She was like, I think it was Catherine of Aragon. I don't remember, but the high-ranking queen in Spain thought she had the authority to like undo England and take over.
Yeah.
And King Henry screwed it all up by getting divorced.
Well, that's what those countries did back then. Look at Putin. He's from the lineage of Queen Catherine there in Russia. I mean, it's just the way it was.
Yeah.
A lot of those monarchies still exist today.
You know, after Vladimir Lenin started the revolution in 1917, it was a good concept, but there's been murderous leaders there ever since, like Stalin, and Putin's no different. He wants to conquer land and kill people.
That is not true. I don't think
Putin is a killer.
I don't think he wants to go back to the Soviet Union. I think they want to protect their borders because look at the history of Russia and the invasions. The Ukraine was a corridor it led toward the invasion of Russia. So they don't want to live through those things no more. Germany twice invaded them. So yeah,
and Japan
trying to protect themselves.
You know what? Russia was beat by Japan and Finland in 1905. So Russia, they lost some wars too, but in the last 25 years, Russia has invaded Syria, Azerbaijan, Crimea, and the Ukraine. They're still territorial expansionists that they're trying to...
Syria?
Yes, they funded the war completely with Bashar al-Assad.
Oh yeah, they helped them, but that's not.
There were Russian soldiers in with Russian tanks and Russian airplanes killing Syrians.
No, they were helping to defend themselves against the Israelis and Americans
No, I'm talking about the Syrian civil war against Bashar al-Assad. The Russians annihilated the people standing up to Bashar al-Assad.
Well, he was the president of the country, the leader of the country.
Well, you know what? He was corrupt.
Well, here's the thing today.
He allowed 5 million people to die or be deported.
Name a government that's not corrupt, okay?
Did you know half of
Here's
Syria?
Here's the thing today, Jane. You don't want to be messing with Russia. Russia has enough power to send the United States back to the Stone Age, and vice versa.
Then why did I read a report where that Russia, all their equipment was broken and they were using 19th century tanks because they ran out of modern ones?
Well, if you have a war with them, it's not going to be no. In the United States, where are you going to go? You know what the land that they encompass? They're going to be firing nuclear ballistic missiles, thermonuclear. If a bomb went off in Washington, D.C., it would vaporize people clean past Baltimore.
I do have one problem with you, Neal, is why do you think Syria, the whole nation was torn apart? 1 million people walked, WALKED, walked through Turkey to Germany as refugees. Russia didn't take in one refugee. They helped kill those people. Where were you?
Well, it was not their responsibility to take in this.
Yeah, but they helped kill them with their equipment.
Well, that's fine because I mean a lot of country have use our proxy by large companies. I mean, the United States does it all the time. You know, create civil wars and be on one side versus the other side. We had in Nicaragua, we have in Korea, we had in Vietnam. It happens all the time.
Well, that damn
Has, but not on that level. That was a huge level.
France was good for going around starting stuff they couldn't finish. They got kicked out of Vietnam, and on the way out, they sold Vietnam to the Japanese. How
Yep.
the hell are you going to sell somebody else's country?
The French colonies did dominate Vietnam, and I just want to read one stat. During Syria's long and civil war, more than 13.5 million people were forced to flee their homes, and approximately 6 million Syrians left the country to find refuge in neighboring nations, including Lebanon, Turkey, Germany, and Scandinavia.
Well, you know, Syria, which at the time it was called Assyrian, under the leadership of Sennacherib, well, look at the things that they done. It was Sennacherib that was marching down on Jerusalem when the Cushites came up out of the south and defeated them.
In biblical times,
701 BC.
In biblical times, Damascus and Syria were enemies of the Jews.
You can read about that in 2 Kings 19 and 35, that war.
Was that the part where King Ahab was being stubborn with his wife Jezebel, and they wouldn't listen to Ezekiel, and they had a famine there, and then
you're right about Ezekiel.
And then Jezebel was eaten by dogs.
I don't know what the people, and what Israel's doing in Gaza is genocide. They're trying to ethnic clean that area. When they had Operation Solomon and Operation Abraham, where they airlifted Ethiopians, who are from the original people of that area, airlift them back to Israel. They made the males recircumcised, grown men recircumcised, and they gave the Ethiopian women, they sterilized them.
That's crazy.
Those people are evil. I mean, they're just evil.
Some of the Ethiopians were Jews. Now, my biggest contention is, why does Netanyahu, let's just say they are the people of God, why does he have to kill so many people? Even the construct of the land, Palestine, whether they're Muslims or not, the majority, it just doesn't work. They can't villainize all the people of Palestine as anti-Israeli. Half those people, yeah.
In the 1930s, Theodore Herzl, which was a leader with so-called Zionists, and off the Balfour. It was going to be Uganda was going to be the land of return. But how the heck you going to say that here comes a bunch of whites back to Uganda saying we back? That ain't going to fly.
Well, in 1917, the British created the Balfour Declaration, returning them to the land of Palestine.
The British divided Palestine. Palestine for that was Philistine.
Right.
It goes back to being Canaan.
I know. And Palestine was part Christian at that time when between 1917 and 1948. It wasn't all Muslims. It was part Christian and some Jews.
Because of the Crusades and what they did there. And well, you asked why do Bibi doing what he's doing is what you got to understand is Bibi right now is trying to fulfill Bible prophecy right now.
You know where he went to high school? You know where he went to high school?
I do not.
He graduated from high school in Philadelphia.
Did he? Oh, okay. I can believe that. I'm not surprised. But so that's what's going on. They're trying to bring their savior to the earth now. So that's what the issue is with them getting the red heifer, trying to build the third temple again. So he's in the process of trying to fulfill prophecy, and no matter what it takes, they're going to do it. And
it's going to fail, though. You know why? Because
it's going to fail without a doubt.
The United States don't need that area no more. We self-dependent in all.
Oh yeah, no, they are going to get kicked out of that land. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, sooner or later they are. It's
they are.
a matter of time.
Yeah, they're making it happen quickly, and just not to throw out a conspiracy theory, but they're saying that it's close to not 60,000. They're saying close to 600,000. They just can't pull the people out of the building quick enough. So I know I ain't got no proof of that, but that's what they're saying. They say there's nobody there able really to count because they destroyed the department that would normally do that. And they're saying there's a lot of
the one thing that you know, see, the Israelis don't have the birth rate to populate that area. Old women not having babies.
That is true.
And he knows that. They're going to be decimated. The same way Black Americans here, and Don say they're not. You know how many black babies black women have aborted since 1972? Oh, 25 million.
Yeah, over 300,000 a year. Yeah.
25 million. Now,
that's horrible.
Here's the thing, Don. The question should be why? Not the fact that they happened, but why is this going on? And blacks have not suffered from anything that any other ethnic group have. Look at Chicago when you had the Puerto Ricans and they was under the Puerto Rican activists. What was his name? Cha-Cha? And they had the gang called the Lords. Hell, they was fighting for the same thing that Black Americans complain about.
Right, and the women still getting abortion. I mean, the women were fun. You know, you go out with them, you take them to the club, people have been clubbing forever. You take them, you date them for a while. You have babies. You don't want babies to wreck your future.
I understand what you're saying, Don, but it's not the logic behind it. The fact is that it happened.
Right, and
it's a whole country. 25 million. It was one time. It was at the rate of 50 per hour in the United States.
And it's a very lucrative business, baby selling.
Absolutely right. It still is today. They want to harvest people who's been in accidents, and their brain is still functioning. You still got neurological signs in their brain. In some cases, the heart's still beating, and they want to take out the person's kidney and prepare it for selling because I understand that if your heart stops beating, then your organs are no good no more.
Right. Well, we're talking about babies right now, and they still do some of those things, but When they suction them out, they don't sometimes always suction the whole thing out, or they take them out. So they have parts that are still usable. And these babies are also used by these rich white people for gene transplants, transplants.
Stem cell, right?
Let me tell you
Stem cell?
something.
Then
You got rich black people. You got rich blacks that do the same thing too. We can name them. I think that we need to. I think that I never taught my kids to hate nobody. I taught my kids that people are human beings, and human beings, just like animals, they do things that kill up their like kind or their neighbor. Put a harness in a bee to them.
Every time they walk out this door, because anything like what happens to them, mainly because they're black.
Well, the same thing happens to whites.
They don't have to worry about. They don't have to worry about walking out there.
That's true.
Come on.
May I answer that question that you asked, Don? May I answer that as well?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, you ask the question, man.
No, I want to answer the one that you asked Don. You say
I don't ever ask any questions.
No, Pianki asked you.
The guy on the
Just
subway
answer
train,
it.
The man on the subway train, Brown. What did he say after he stabbed?
I killed that white girl. He was a crazy mofo.
He said, "I killed a white girl." And wait a minute, hang on for a second. Now we're gonna be honest with each other, Don.
Sure.
We know the conversation is held. We know you got elements of black that hate white people. We've been around them. I've been around them. They're there.
The thing is that's why there is very little interaction with black and white. You only work with most whites only interact with blacks in work setting. Otherwise, they are silos.
They move away from them. They flee the cities, and guess what? Blacks do the same thing too when they become mobile. When blacks become mobile, who are they trying to get away from? They can't be trying to get away from whites. Most whites left a long time ago. They trying to get away from other blacks, and I don't blame them.
No, nobody blames. No blame for anything because we migrate. Blacks are natural migrating. You were talking about the Turks and everyone else, the East Asians. Y'all are missing the whole damn point. I said it a million times on the show and everywhere in life. We are the first. Africans are the first people. Everybody is us. When you talk about, I don't want to talk about race, or I want to, talk about whatever the bullshit is. Everybody's black. Nobody else related. The worst.
Everybody, humans might have evolved on the African continent, but we are no longer that. Is it in our DNA? Yes, it's in every human being's DNA. It's within your bone marrow.
I know you're atheist, but
I don't have to be no atheist.
I thought you didn't believe in anything.
But you don't have to, Don. You don't have to be an atheist. The people that came here in the year 500 AD, they're not the same today.
No, and that's what evolution is all about. But the thing is that everybody knows that, and I said this, Kobe and Jane, blacks are bigger, faster, stronger, and smarter.
Yeah, that's under controlled circumstances.
We're the ancient people.
And it's only a few that's that way. All of them is not like that. The Bible said in both this King James and also the Hebrew Bible that blacks is cursed.
Right. And
No.
By Ham.
I gotta jump in. I gotta disagree with that.
It says they are cursed. Did not it say Canaan? Who was Canaan?
Okay. Let me just.
It was Ham.
Okay, yeah. So Canaan is the son of Ham. So Canaan was cursed, not the whole. Well, when we say Hamite, I know in modern terms we use the term African, but
but if you go using the biblical definition, it technically would be Hamites. And Canaan is just one of the grandsons of Ham. And so he was cursed. It wasn't cursed because of the cult.
Okay,
It
all
was
right.
cursed because
Okay.
of the sin that he committed.
Who do Japheth represent?
No, I want to say something.
Wait a
Nate,
minute. Hang on here for a second.
wait,
Dave.
Noah got drunk and he was mad that Ham saw him naked because Ham narked to his brothers that he was naked and he cursed Ham.
No, he cursed Canaan. He did not curse Ham.
Oh,
Let's look at the lineage. Hang on for a second, y'all. Look at the lineage. You had Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Shem represent the yellow people. Japheth represented white people, and Ham represented black people. If Canaan was the son of Ham, then my daughter is black.
But
Ham
Ham had many sons. He didn't just have Canaan. He had many different sons.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have been mixed.
No, they were all dark. They would have been all melanated people. They would all be.
And see, here's another thing. Well, here's another thing. And I don't say this. White skin is a recent phenomenon because of evolution.
Damn it, motherfucker! I've been saying that for years. But I have to say I have a different theory on that. So I do have a different view.
White skin is the white skin. There's nothing wrong with it. That's just the way it is. If you're born on the equator, you're not going to have no lily white skin because nature would not provide for you like that. But when you go up above the 30th parallel, you're going to have to drop that melanin. If not, it's going to be detrimental to your life.
Exactly. You don't get. If they don't get enough sun, so they have to keep in as much as they can get. But you went through it. Japheth and Ham.
But yeah, you were asking about the sons of Noah. My position, or
I don't believe. By the way, I don't believe in that. I'm just going about it.
I understand. I heard you say that. Oh yeah, no, I understand that, and that's fine. You can still argue it intellectually without believing in it. That's perfectly fine.
just so you know, they saved the most sexiest evolved people for last. The sexy white Scandinavians.
White women today are beautiful as hell. They are some beautiful women.
Yeah.
I think women of all nationalities, they're beautiful ones.
You're all right. You're all right.
That's what I would say.
Remember what Richard Pryor said. Ain't nothing uglier than a 70-year-old white woman.
Kiss off. I turned 65 today.
Well, Richard Pryor, what he talking about?
So Pianki, how big is your marriage dowry to marry me?
I'm not married to nobody. We just in the wrong generation.
No, you said that I can. You said I can move to.
We go back 50 years or so, maybe things would have been different if I went left rather than right. But you can't turn back the hands of time, baby.
I think I should marry someone in my own race. But
You're a human being.
I want to go back to the one question that Pianki asked Don about the what have the black people gone through that other people haven't gone through, and Don started to mention it a little bit, and so I think the biggest issue is when you look at the experience of what we call melanated people in this country. I understand, or I see it different, because again, as I said earlier, just because we are melanated, we are from different tribes, and because of that, we have different experiences. And so when I look at it, and people always want to minimize the transatlantic slave thing, transatlantic slave trade, you can't minimize that because that set the tone for how melanated people were treated from that day to this day. It has not changed. It may change in style or form, but it's still.
How did they get here? How did they get here? White people did not go into Africa.
There's two ways. There's two ways they came here. For me, from how I understand the biblical text.
I understand that. But wait a minute. I'm asking how they got. We're not talking about the migration. How did they get out of Africa? They was kicked out.
They had guns. They went in with guns.
But Don, they had single fire musket loaders at that time.
And black people had hollowed out bamboo shoots.
Absolutely. If a ship had a crew about 20 or 30 people, it was a ship that carried commodities. So you had to have room for the commodity, whether the commodity was foodstuff or whether it was human. Also, a ship had to anchor offshore and row to the shore.
No problem. When you got
a rowboat of whites ain't gonna go into no damn Hitler region and steal people.
You're right about that, Pianki. You're right about that, because that's what I'm trying to say. There's a difference between the different tribes. And so how I look at it, again, from the biblical point of view that I have, there are differences between the different melanated people. Some of them are Shemites, and some of them I call Hamites. And so what I would call the people that I would call Hamite are the people who sold what I would call the melanated Shemite to the what we call Caucasian people that would have they would have went into the middle of the continent and brought them out.
Listen,
that's what I would. That's what
they had slavery going on 1,000 years before they met Portuguese, and they were sending them to Arabia. In Ghana alone, Ghana had 15 interior slave markets. They had 27 castles along the coast. They was getting rid of their riffraff.
And even before the transatlantic slave trade, you had the Muslim slave trade, like you said, 1,000 years before that. So the Muslims are actually, Okay, let me try this again. Is this any better? I wish that was better.
Neal, your phone is off. Your phone is kind of crackly.
Okay, I'll try to speak a little slower then. What I was saying is you had the Islamic people, or we call it Ishmael people, also sold after what we call Hamite, as well as Shemites, melanated people as well. When you were talking about the 1,000 years before the European king, you are correct 100%. But again, this is a difference between that type of slavery and that was on the continent compared to the slavery that occurred in America. In many cases,
tell me something about the slavery in America that wasn't going on someplace else.
The difference was, that's what I was saying, the difference was that when you had the slavery on the continent, many times those people was actually incorporated into those tribes where they actually became family members, whereas that really wasn't the case with the slavery in the America.
Let me tell you something. Here in the United States, and I know what people use, they had chattel slavery. The Indians had chattel slavery.
Yes.
Yeah. You had chattel slavery in Africa too. In Ghana, you had 5 to 6 different types of slavery. 5 to 6 different types, of which one was chattel. That means that if I owed you $50,000 and during my lifespan I paid you $25, well, that means that my children has got to get money to pay you the other $25. So they were slaves too.
That could have happened. I agree with you. That's what I was going to say. There was a different type. Chattel slavery was that's what you were found on the continent more. But then after that point, those people generally actually became part of the citizenship and family members. So it was a different type of slavery, where in the Americas that really wasn't exist. You were slave for life here. That was the main difference.
Well,
you were property here.
Well,
you were property here.
Wait a minute. My wife, I'm married to a Ghanaian lady. In her country, she is my property. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Well, I mean,
her children. Her children are my property.
But I agree with that from the biblical point of view. A wife, a child.
But see, here's the thing.
Yes.
Africans didn't know nothing about no damn Bible until the 1800s with Lewis Clark and Livingston and Stanley. And the missionaries came down.
I'm going to disagree with that.
They didn't know nothing about no Bible.
Because even if you go in the Bible, they talk about the Ethiopian eunuch that say, need assistance from
you know how far Ethiopia is from Ghana, West Africa?
It is far. I know.
Yeah.
But
See, men created gods.
Men do create gods.
They created gods. All throughout history, they created their God. And the Assyrians' God was Ashur, Ashur. All of them. You know what the Egyptians, they had many. They all create gods.
Yes,
a religion is nothing more than the deification of an ethnic group's culture. In a culture you can't kill, you can't steal. Well, sooner or later, that became the ethnic and moral codes of that country, of that society.
I agree.
Thus the Ten Commandments.
That's the only place where I disagree.
The Ashanti had their own gods.
Yes, they did.
All of them did.
All nations do, and that's what the Bible says. He allowed every people group to have their own gods. He assigned certain spirits over every landmass where they would have their own god. So you
can go read certain texts in these other societies, and they say basically the same thing. You got to look at who was around first to create those passages, and it wasn't no Hebrews. It wasn't no.
Originally, again, they're going to have very similar story because, again, Noah, if you understand or believe it, again, he was the father of Ham, Shem, and Japheth. So, yes, he would have told the story. Noah is a myth. That's why they would have similar stories. That's why they have
Noah, the story of Noah and the flood, where it covers the entire world and mountains, is a myth. I mean, we have to admit that did not happen.
I don't admit that at all because, again, even in the Grand Canyon, they're finding fossil stones thousands of feet up in the air.
That's because the water was that high at that time. But look at this.
And the water comes up from the base of the earth. And that's how you get dinosaurs that be able to be fossilized. And
my grandson is a gas and petroleum engineer.
I hear you say that.
They ain't digging. When they drill down, they don't hit no damn water like what you're talking about.
Well, yes, there's
underground reservoirs. I agree with you, but the core of the earth is molten metal. That's what it is.
I would say yes. I'm so sure there's molten lava down there too. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that as well.
So if you had a flood that covered all the mountains, what is the altitude? What is the height of Mount Everest? You're talking about 35,000 feet. At that height, the temperature is about 40 degrees below zero. So if water covered all the mountains like that, it would be ice. I mean, that's just a fact.
Again, again, my understanding from the Bible, that was the known world. And so some people would debate that it wasn't necessarily the whole world, but it would have been that specific geographic area where
water seeks its own level, right?
Yes, correct.
So if water's at 30,000 feet at that mountain, it's going to be 35,000 feet all over the planet.
Yeah, but again, the earth is in a different shape from when the flood happened. You have Pangea, where the earth has split apart, and that could have been due to because of the flooding as well. So we're looking at a different earth now from when it was then. So they could have created Mount Everest.
It's still around. It's still a spirit
at that point.
There was also every culture has had a flood story.
You're absolutely right. They have a flood story, but when you put the scientific study to it, if you got a water depth of 30,000 feet in Dallas, Texas, you go over to Russia, it's going to be the same thing because water seeks its own level.
Well, maybe God only flooded the Middle East, and I do believe that there was a boat in a flood, that Noah built the boat.
All right, well, that's what you gonna believe. I'm not gonna argue.
Well, stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened.
But I'm sorry, I still just wanted to get out.
You know, the Mediterranean, what you call the Mediterranean Sea at one time was a valley, right?
Did you know that the African the Sahara and the Africa used to be like a rich waterway, all the way from like Morocco to Egypt? It used to be a rich waterway, and it dried up over the years.
It just has receded. Now, you know what you do if you want to find water in the desert? You take a monkey and feed him salt. Then follow him. He'll go to water. And many times they go to them underground caves. They hit down through a hole in the ground. Next thing you know, they come out in a cavern where there's water.
That's cool. So we've been on the air. It'll be 2 hours and 10 minutes, and I have to call my twin sister because it's her birthday too. So can we do our conclusions?
Well, whatever you guys want to conclude, I'm just here as a guest. I like engaging in conversation. Sometimes I don't like to get engaged in conversations about Bibles because people, I spent 8 to 9 years in Egypt going in and out of temple tombs and pyramids on dig sites there at the first cataract at what they call Hadi Wadi, where the measurement of the remains, basically what you call people's garbage, goes back 65,000 years ago.
The strange thing is a lot of white people, they care about those. They care about the pyramids.
White skin came along about 25,000 years ago.
I have to
take. They came out of the north.
Hi, Joan.
I started progressing. Africans was the one that started walking off, leaving the front porch and wandering around to become what many people are today. I mean, that's just the way it is. Mammals don't evolve in cold areas. And during the ice periods, hell, you had ice that was over a mile thick in some of those areas. So they say. So mammals don't begin where it's cold. It just don't happen. What are they going to eat? Icicles?
Well, right now, polar bears are doing just fine, but the ice is melting. So they're having fewer habitats. But, what we're looking at is the truth against fiction. And, fiction is winning. Everybody.
Well, I don't think so. I think what's happening, Don, is that when you educate your children, then your children will know better.
Right, but they don't.
My kids knew what a virus was, so they wasn't afraid of no damn COVID. They knew what a virus was.
Right, but I mean, the bottom line is that the whole world tripped on it.
They tripped out on you. Have to look. Now the Africans didn't. They didn't take them damn shots.
They didn't take it. African Americans didn't take the shot. That's why I don't understand why whites don't give us more credit for not taking the shots. But
the people that's got the strongest immune system on the planet comes off that continent because they've been here longer.
That's
simple as that.
I've been saying that for years, and you know, Jane doesn't believe me, but you sometimes.
I've seen kids in villages drinking water out of a trough.
Right.
You know, next to them, you know who's drinking water? The cows and the pigs.
And you know what? Cows and pigs are way cleaner than humans. So I worry about the humans drinking out of it rather than the cows and the pigs.
Yeah. So those human beings they're more diverse, and they have a stronger immune system because they've been around. Now, when people went around the world and came in contact with others, they shared diseases basically to help them to strengthen their immune system. Some of them died, some of them lived. And the ones that lived had a stronger immune system.
Oh, jeez. Yep, exactly. And I've been saying that for decades. I mean, forever, since I was born. So, yeah, thank you, Pianki, for that. Now, I know next week you probably come up with some really crazy bullshit, but this week, you make sense. All right.
We talk about whites came to America and given Indians disease. Well, Indians gave whites diseases, too. They gave them dysentery.
Yeah, well, that wasn't necessarily their disease for the whites. That was their cleanliness of where they were.
Well, no, you ain't gonna have to go out and take a damn shower when the snow is on the ground and the ice is 15 below and shit like that. Hell no.
Right. So then you're gonna just wash with the other people who washed out and dirty.
So people had to learn, man. They had to learn. That's and see over there, you walk around on dirt all the time, so you taking minerals in through your feet that your body needs.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I drunk water out of the Nile, and the water is clear. Matter of fact, if people would take their empty water bottles, and they would have to mark it, because when they dip it in the Nile River and bring it out, it's just as clear as it was store-bought. So if they didn't want to drink it, they had to mark the bottle so that they wouldn't accidentally drink it.
Yeah. But
you can't do that with the Mississippi.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, you used to be able to. Here, we can still drink some of our water from rivers, but that's what we talk. But that's what we call living out freedom.
Way up north, you can, yeah.
We live out west, and we still have some cleanest air and water in the nation. And I implore everyone to come out west because where they're living is polluted as hell. And you keep talking about Louisiana and St. Louis. Those are two of the most polluted places on the planet. So come out west.
Well, yeah, I tell you what, the fish down here in Louisiana is not as good as that up north. It's I believe it's because the water is so hot. Greens, neither. They don't grow no good greens down here. They wilted. What, gumbo and jambalaya, stuff like that. But you know, I'm going to tell you something. Food all around it don't taste like it used to when we was kids. Chicken don't taste like it used to when we was kids.
No, I agree with you when you were talking about, you know, I own a dance, fitness, and nutrition business. So nutrition is a big part of my life or what I do for people. And food is definitely one of the things that has degraded. We don't need anything in a package or a bottle or a can. And so that's something that very seldom unless we're in a big hurry. Everything we cook is fresh.
That's impressive.
Oh no, Brad.
Wow.
We had 5 kids. We had 5 kids and 9 grandkids. So we had breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they were all cooked by either my wife or myself, and now the kids cook.
Well, it's the truth. Eggs don't taste like they used to.
That's because they're not. They're everything antibiotics and preservatives
And that's a shame.
GMOs. So
Look at the babies. Look at the shots, the inoculations that they give babies. When I was coming up, I didn't take all them damn inoculations. I might have
That's
took.
your answer to the transgenders. That's one of your major answers to transgenders that you need.
How many shots did you take when you was a kid? Well, we took polio, and it wasn't a shot. It was either that they dabbed that thing on your arm, with the picked your arm, or they had later on they had a liquid that you swallowed.
Right. But that was, but you had your, still had diphtheria and mumps, measles.
I didn't take no mump shot. I went over to my friend's house who had the mump, and he gave them to me.
Yeah.
So, by the way, John just called on the land phone.
Well, one of the things, Pianki, you asked about the trans problem. It's nutrition. When you're eating soy products and some of these additives and preservatives, you get in more estrogen. And so you become the male, you start growing female parts.
Yeah, you got some men that asses look as good as a woman if you didn't know what they were.
Yeah, well, bottom line is that they're taking additional estrogen, but these people nowadays are getting estrogen naturally. People don't understand soy is one of the worst things for you in terms of changing your hormonal.
Did you know that the Chinese farmers are not buying soy anymore from America? They're buying it from a southern European country.
That's because nobody's buying food from America anymore. And the litany that I just said, we have GMOs, we have other preservatives and processed ingredients that nobody wants. Everybody knows, and that's what I don't understand what's going on politically. Is because if anybody who's ever been across the world, around the world, Pianki knows, they hate us. The world hates Americans. They hate us with a passion.
I think they're jealous. They're jealous of America for one thing.
Not all hate, but many do.
Jealous. I was going to say, part of it is because they're very jealous. And
they don't like people who are dogmatic, who think they're right all the time.
Well, that's our problem. That part of the hatred, negative hatred comes from. Because we're so pretentious. So they don't like that. They want us to be regular people and not throw our money around and say, hey, you better do everything you can for them. It is, we're in a conundrum. I was trying to tell
Neal?
No, I was trying to tell what you call it?
Elmer or something.
I was trying to I wasn't trying to call him a liar. I was trying to say that that people can talk out of both sides of their neck. And he wasn't getting that. He was thinking that the person.
Yeah, we were told that shit. Like, hey, if you want to see some beautiful white women, go on YouTube and do moonshine bandits, red, white, and blues. Them women are beautiful and shapely, like they were back there in the days of Soul Train.
But you don't want them to open their mouth.
I don't give a damn about them.
I heard the most beautiful women. I heard the most beautiful women in the world are from Brazil.
Brazil, but they got some beautiful women over there in Ethiopia.
I know some pretty Ethiopians in Minnesota. We have a lot of them here.
If you like a little tan on them. That shit, ain't nothing wrong with them.
They're light skin and they're petite.
Yep.
They look like they've been on a phantom.
That's okay.
You, okay, I don't got time to talk about chicks. I want to go to bed. It's 1 a.m. here, dudes.
Nobody gives a damn. All right.
It's my phone. I can hang up.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah, don't forget now, moonshine bandits, red, white, and booze. Booze, B-O-O-Z-E-D.
I thought it was booze.
Can you guys pray for me and also pray for my son?
Oh, we always do. I always do.
He hasn't talked to me in 10.5 months.
Yeah, well, there's a whole lot of families they don't talk in 10.5 years. So 9.5 years from now, we just don't. Tell me about it.
I ain't waiting that long.
You have to. You don't have a choice. He's a grown man.
I can drive to Tempe, Arizona.
He's a grown man. He would hate you even more.
Yes, Father dear. Yes, Father dear.
I'm always right.
Well, then I'll come and see you and Pat for Thanksgiving.
All right, well, look, if you send me an email, Jane, I'll send you that information I was going to tell you.
Okay, I'll give you my email as soon as I hang up, but
My do your diabetes some good.
I have a cramp in my hip and I can't sit any longer. So have a good night. Have a good night, you guys.
Yeah, see you later.
Bye-bye.